Launched by Prime Minister in February this year, the National Risk and Vulnerability Atlas of Uganda entails statistics, graphical representation and maps, giving pointers on mitigation measures to boost the country's disaster preparedness. The document identifies areas in Uganda that are prone to disasters, the extent of the hazard, the probability and frequency of the occurrence and magnitude of the impact. After nationwide analysis of historical data and research, it was found that Uganda is vulnerable to 7 disasters including flooding, drought, hailstorms, windstorms, landslides, earthquakes and lightning. The Atlas outlines what most at-risk communities should do to reduce vulnerability and strengthen their resilience. The most at-risk facilities were identified as the general population, health centers, schools, residential areas, roads, warehouses and water supply systems. According to the findings, drought mostly affects Karamoja and Teso sub-region, West Nile and the Cattle Corridor areas, while floods are dominant in regions of Elgon, Bukedi, Rwenzori, Teso, Karamoja and Nakasongola among others. Relatedly, hailstorms are common in Elgon, Bukedi, central and western areas, while windstorms are common in Teso, Bukedi, Ankole, Bunyoro, Rwenzori and southwestern Uganda.
Our district is largely made of volcanic soils, and volcanic soils are burnt soils by volcanic activity. It's lava ash, and the ash is usually unstable. It is not as strong. And having such ash on steep hills makes it even worse, because when it rains, this ashy soil will do what? Will slide off.
Now, our people live in hilly areas. Now, the construction that is going on in hilly areas makes water to log somewhere. Now, when that water moves down the valleys, it washes away all the people that live along its, its way. So, then, of course, when the water is washing away, it will move with soil. Then it piles in the valleys. Then on the process, it sweeps houses, goats, crops.
The communities as well.
All right.
Now the Office of the Prime Minister has embarked on a sensitization campaign, especially in the most at-risk districts, and the campaign begins in Kigezi sub-region.
We get to know the critical facilities that are exposed to that hazard, such as schools, hospitals, markets, roads, and it also gives us the population that is vulnerable to a certain hazard. For example, when you look at the National Risk Atlas, you'll find that we know the population that is exposed to drought. We know the districts that are exposed to drought. We get to know the critical facilities that are exposed to that hazard, such as schools, hospitals, markets, roads, and it also gives us the population that is vulnerable to a certain hazard. For example, when you look at the National Risk Atlas, you'll find that we know the population that is exposed to drought. We know the districts that are exposed to drought.
Some local leaders, however, feel sidelined in disaster response, calling for more sincerity from the Office of the Prime Minister for Disaster Management.
Government, OPM must think about decentralizing so that at the district we have a focal person, then we go ahead and that district we have a budget to manage such a risk in case it comes up.
It is very shameful for me to write a report, first report, second report, third report, and nothing that is responded to. And when they bring maize or some few things, they give it to politicians from the center, the MPs, and it becomes an MP issue as if they are the ones who requested or who reported.
We have responded positively. We do assessments. We come and support them. Response is not only about food. We have supported them with capacity building for the district disaster management committees. We have supported them with mapping the hazards in the district. And also food, we have responded a number of times.
According to the affected local governments, disaster response should be fully integrated in the National Development Plan for more effective response. Herbert Kamaga, NTV.